All right, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justmoparjoe. Back on the old 400 here today. Wanted to get the camshaft stuck in it and hopefully get it degreed. So y'all come along with me. Question number one, what cam am I running? This is a comp hydraulic roller. There's a part number. I've shown you this before, some of the specs, and you'll see it's from 2007. So this is a new old stock cam I got from a special source, I'll say, Mr. Rodney Bird. And Ed checked that for me for straightness at Ed's machine. There's a cam card. We'll use it here shortly. And we'll be checking the center line. It's a 106. So, before I stick this in the engine, I'm gonna get it cleaned up, some brake cleaner, lubed up, all that jazz. I actually had a viewer a while back send me this awesome camshaft installation handle. And it's really nice for stuff like this. It's got all your adapters and such. Bolt onto the front of this. This is a 3-bolt. So it'll bolt onto the front and you can use that big, beautiful, heavy handle instead of a bolt or whatever else. That's what I'm used to using. So I've used this once so far and it worked out really nicely for me. Over here, I got this tech tip from Ed's machine as well. Put you a sheet of paper under your magnetic base so it doesn't scratch up your brand new resurfaced deck. See the lines there? So I have found top dead center just by setting that up, zeroing it out, and as I turn, oh yeah, you'll see my new snout socket on. But as I turn, we watch, it's going away from the zero. I'll flip my ratchet back. She comes back to the zero and touches. That's it. No more. If I keep going, it goes like that. I don't want that. So let's put her back on zero. Right there. My camshaft degree wheel will go on this knurled nut here just shortly, but I want to get the cam stuck in first. Obviously, I'll wipe out my cam bearings, lube it up, be sure she free spins. I got a new sock here. See, I wiped some red marker off with it a minute ago, but get it lubed up. Soak her down. It just comes with that kind of the rust preventative stuff on it. And he may have coated this in the past few years. It's a nice billet core, which are not really super, you don't see them as often anymore. They're becoming less available, let's say. And this camshaft may not be the perfect grind for this engine. It will work. I think it'll work really well, especially when I tell you what I'm doing with it. So you saw all those specs and the differences I'm making. Number one, I'm using 1/6 rockers. I've got getting some rockers from Mr. Rick Seaman. If y'all haven't seen his channel, check it out. He does a step-by-step build like this, except it's of a Hemi. So probably the best Hemi build you'll see on YouTube that I've ever seen on YouTube, for sure. So go check that out if you have not already. So that'll bring my lift up, I think, to about 5'8". Add a little duration. Different sources tell you different things on that. I read a Motor Trend article that said it could add up to 20 degrees of advertised. That seems like a lot. So just do your own independent research and come to your own conclusion on that. There we are. Okay, so here's how this works. They give you different sized ends, whatever you want to call them. Then it has this recessed Allen bolt. Allen bolt goes in, screws into the end of your cam handle. So I've already matched that up. I need to get the correct size Allen wrench and maybe just keep one in the box Allen wrench in, give her a tighten up. Doesn't have to be super tight. And then that goes on the front side of your cam. Very simple. I dig this thing, it's cool. I believe Mr. Biggin Johnson gave me this. That's a name I cannot forget. And I don't think I'll be able to use these bolts with my cam button, but I'll check. These are three factory bolts for a 3-bolt cam in a Mopar. They came out of a 413. I don't know if they'll work with my cam handle or not. Yeah, they're close. Number 3. Got my camshaft right there. And I'm gonna use my semi-synthetic assembly lube from Lucas. I'm only doing the journals right now. I'm not worried about the lobes. The lobes just get engine oil later. I can put oil on them now, but I don't think it really matters. If I go through and squirt some in later, should be good. Let's do each journal. I have went ahead and oiled every cam bearing, so they're good to go. But look how nice and tacky that stuff is. So when that mixes with that little bit of oil that is on there already, should be nice. If I didn't have this, I'd use my Lucas 50/50 mix. And run her in. I'm actually right-handed, so this was probably a bad idea to film this way, but that's okay. Get that first one setting there. Don't mess it up. There we are. I got you on the very last row there. Coming in. Oh yeah. Give her a little spin as I go in. And that's all there is, and there ain't no more. Spins real nice and freely. It may have a little drag because of that thick lube, but that's okay. Very nice. All right, let's have a little timing chain tech. So this is not an expensive timing set at all. I actually have 2 or 3 different timing sets I'm looking at. I have a new chain, and I got a bunch of new chains and new sprockets. See, these are sprockets. These are not called gears. When I did my Michigan parts trip. So I'm trying to use some of that stuff up. This is not really an expensive engine by any means. So I don't have to have a $250 special setup or anything like that. I want to get to check the degree on the cam, and if it's off, I can use other measures. But right now I'm just checking it with the stuff that I have, and I'll probably end up using one of these combinations. But I wanted to show you, I just stuck this is just an extra sprocket I stuck on here so you could kind of see the different wear patterns. This one, I'll use my pointer, there we go. These teeth are very, very sharp compared to those teeth. Those teeth have kind of a flattened edge on them. I don't know if I can get in and see that or not. But a lot more flattened, less wear. If you look through here, there's a little bit of wear in the pattern. So I wanted to show you here. There's kind of the one you can advance and retard with. And I think they say it's 4 degrees, but I wanted you to check out the difference in that one. See how big and square those are? You still see the lines on top of here. I'm not sure if this one was ever ran. I mean, it looks dirty, but it will not work with every chain. So, for example, this chain's been used before. I don't plan on using it, but I have it in the collection. This is a new chain. And if I take that sprocket and I try to drop into here, I want you to look at how the gears, or how the rollers are not dropping into the sprocket all the way. I cannot use this bottom gear with this chain or either of these chains because it's got a little bit different makeup. I'm assuming this one was for a full roller chain. None of these have the links that roll inside of them, so they're not as nice as a full roller setup. But this is a brand new chain that I got in my Michigan parts, and it says USA on it. It's actually in a Mopar box, so I'm not sure how old it was. I'm gonna probably try that chain on my best bottom gear that I have, just to degree this cam with, or check the degree. And part of that is because this chain's super sloppy. I did watch Mr. David Vizard's video not long ago where he discussed it was like 10 horsepower on the dyno, the difference in a super tight chain and one that had a little bit of slack in it. So in theory, this may make more power, but I'd like to have it a little bit tighter than that. That's just, in my mind, that, like I said, that chain's probably been worn before or ran on something. I'm gonna switch over to my other chain and we'll start to grade. I made myself a beautiful piston stop. I did grind the end of that bolt off where it's nice and flat so it won't dig into my piston. I'll probably paint this thing at some point, but I'm trying to degree a cam today. It's I think a 7/16 bolt. Found a couple more, and while I was looking through my bolts, I found the little selection ARPs. My brother Drew, if y'all saw the No Name Nationals videos where I had my purple car there, he dropped off a bunch of bolts a while back and said, you'll use them in something, but that is exactly what I need. 3 of those dudes to go on a gear like that. And my button, this is the Comp 206. I've been talking with Ed about, you know, just how to measure and cut and all that, but I'll need that little shim to drop in. This is not the gear I'm using the one over there. But knock it in, press it in, then the button itself will set in between there, like so. I'll do that probably in another video, but I'm gonna get my stop set up. I just wanted to show y'all I found some bolts. I got my pointer on, bolted down there with a little stud. It's the exact same one I used last time, so that's nice. Lined up with 0 here, and our piston is at top dead center. So now I'll be able to take my gauge off here. I'm following along with the comp instructions, and it says attach the degree wheel. The crank may be rotated. Okay, before installing the piston stop, rotate the crankshaft to get the #1 piston in approximate top dead center position with both the intake and exhaust valves closed. This can be a rough guess, but you save you time and mistake later. We have that. See, our dot is at the top. So our dot is up there. The bottom dot, I don't know if you can see it, is right there, straight to our hole. Now it says turn the crankshaft opposite to the engine rotation approximately 15 to 20 degrees. This will lower the position enough to allow the TDC stop to be installed in the spark plug hole. We're not using the spark plug hole, so I will go opposite of that 15 degrees. Trying to be careful here. Right there, about 16, that's fine. And I'll pop my stuff off. And there she is. I probably should have moved my stop down just a little bit, but it does not go into the valve reliefs. We're gonna screw her down until she touches. Right there. And then our little lock nut. Continue to turn the engine in the same direction until the piston comes back up and touches the piston stop. Mark the degree with a pen or pencil, whatever number it's on. So I was going counterclockwise, the opposite. So I should be going down just like that. Coming back up. You be really, really, really careful. That's it. You can see my very, very faint pencil mark there. Now we're going to go opposite rotation, just like the engine turns. And our piston will go down. And at some point, it will come back up to our stop. Right there. And we are at about 14, call it 15 right there. Just like that. There we are. The piston stop is removed. What I'm going to do is go to the in-between of those two marks and make that my new 0. So that is 14 and a half, and that one is 16. Right there. 16 minus 14 is 1. There's our 1 degree. So now it's the one on the top side, since that one was further that way. I will reset my wheel now so that my 0 is on the pointer. I guess I could bend the pointer if I wanted to, but I'd rather move the wheel. All right. I got her set up on the very top of that solid lifter. I'm just going to watch it and be sure it doesn't move around. I'm on 0 here, and I just zeroed that out. So what I need to do is spin it until at the top of that cam lobe, where that cam lobe is up. Normal direction of rotation until you reach maximum lift. The dial indicator will change direction at the point of maximum lift. At this point, set the dial to 0. I can see it coming up. Right now. I gotta be getting close. Okay, we just barely moved. Okay, so we set our dial to 0. We're gonna back the engine up the opposite of normal rotation until the indicator reads 100 thousandths. Then we're going to turn the engine forward in the normal direction of rotation until the dial indicator reads 50 thousandths. So we back up 100 and then we go forward 50. Or opposite direction 100. Coming up to it. Right there. Now we're going back or forward, the normal rotation, 50. There. Perfect. So we need to record this number. I would call that 60 and a half. We'll jot that down. Now we're going to continue to rotate the engine over in its normal direction of rotation until the indicator goes past 0 to 50 on the closing side of maximum lift. Right there. I would call 140 8.5. There's our two figures added. We divide by 2 and we got 104.5. So our cam card says we should be at 106. What I'm going to do is do this entire process over one time and share with you my results. See if we can repeat it. All right, my first number now is 60. You can almost call it 60.5, but it is right on 60. Closer to 60 this time. Now we go 50 the other side. And my second number is 149. There's our first try. And there's our second try. So the math is there. This thing is looking like a 104.5 center line. So here's my final thoughts. It's going to be at 104.5, which is advanced. It's going to cause the power to come in a little bit sooner. And I think that'll be good, especially with this very super short stroke. Give me a little more bottom end. And it'll have more cylinder pressure. I had a guy contact me somewhere. I can't remember if it was Facebook or what. Said he runs these Keith Black pistons and he only has, I think, 120 pounds of cranking compression, something like that. So a little more cylinder pressure would be nice. And some more bottom end. When I put this in my Barracuda, the Barracuda's only got 14 gears, a 28-inch tall tire. I may switch to a 456 later, but having that advanced, I don't think it's going to hurt anything at all. So I'll stick with this chain setup. Also, you'll notice the chain itself was pretty tight. So it's going to stretch some. And when it stretches, that 1.5 degrees may actually come back. So I'm pretty satisfied. I think it's a really nice cam. I think I'm still building a very inexpensive engine. You can't say it's cheap. Nothing's cheap anymore, but it has some good parts in it. And I'll leave you with this last deal here. Here are my lifters for this dude. You'll notice there are Scorpion Racing products. This was competition products. Rodney Bird said, man, they got a sale on lifters. You better buy some. Big Block Chrysler, they were $295, so $318 to my door. There's the part number. And when you get them opened up, see, I've got one set in the engine, cleaned up and in already. They are some Johnsons. So, super nice pieces. I'm excited to try this. I have not yet. You'll remember the cam, that HR means hydraulic roller. These are going to be solid lifters on a hydraulic roller cam. So, hope y'all hang out and we'll see how she runs. Thank y'all.